Hi, my name is Ron Dorn. I'm one of the developers of the GPH 112 class. You're seeing in the background the material for my grandbaby. We store some stuff when she comes over, like diapers and extra food. So what I want to do in this introductory presentation is to walk you through how to read the geological map in the Grand Canyon game board. So I'm going to start with the share screen now. And you're hopefully seeing both the initiation of the game of the Grand Canyon Rocks and Topography game, and then page 10 of the PDF file on stage 0. What I hope you can see in this graphic from page 10 is what I took from the handbook given to rangers in the Grand Canyon when they're learning the different pieces of the rock types in the Grand Canyon. And I particularly like this graphic here because you can see an aerial photo of the topography and the major formations and rock types in the Grand Canyon. Notice that most of the Grand Canyon is layered rocks. It's called the Paleozoic Era, and it extends from the youngest formation called the Kaibab. It's a limestone, all the way down to the oldest piece of the Paleozoic Era at the bottom, which is the Peat sandstone. So I'm going to walk you through the Paleozoic layers and then also a little bit about complicated rock types deep down in the heart of the Grand Canyon in the inner gorge. So let's start with starting the lab. It takes a while for it to boot up. I'm working on a particularly fast computer, so it should be a little bit faster than yours. And you'll also hear your computer heat up because when the game begins to build, it's taking a lot of memory and storage capacity in your computer to create the game board. So it might heat up and whir up your fan for about the first 7 minutes. And then once it has the game board built, your computer should be able to cool off just like mine. So what I'm doing is using the mouse to scroll in and scroll out to be able to see all the formations inside the Grand Canyon, at least on the North Rim area. So I've hit the escape button in order to use my mouse arrow to show you the map key. There's different pieces of the geological key, and it's made simple for you by jumping straight to the Paleozoic layers. And the top Paleozoic layer in the Grand Canyon is this light blue one called the Kaibab Formation. I know it's a bit frustrating to have the key that you need to scroll, but there's a space problem in the game board. We're trying to shove a lot of information into a relatively small area and not interfere with your ability to look and see the game. So in interpreting what you're seeing, way at the top of the Grand Canyon is this light blue. Underneath it is a little bit darker bluish thing called the Toroweep Formation. Over here to the right in this Ranger tutorial guide, you can see the Toroweep, and then the Coconino forms a cliff face underneath the Toroweep, and that's this yellowish in the geologic map. Underneath that is the Hermit Shale, and that's this light blue, and then you go further down to this purple being the Redwall limestone. Let me bring the game back online and have the bunny rabbit jump down to underneath the purple layer, and the bunny rabbit is now sitting on this color, the mauve limestone that forms a mix of cliff faces and ramps. And underneath the mauve limestone is a particularly important layer, this grayish one called the Bright Angel Shale. Notice that the Bright Angel Shale on the right in this aerial photo view forms a ramp or a platform inside the Grand Canyon. Shale is what the geologist's name is for compressed mud. It's very weak rock type material, and so it makes lower slopes. Because it easily erodes, it can actually make the rock types on top of them erode back and form a cliff face. So where the rabbit is now in the game board, and we're going to zoom in, this shale here, when it erodes, and ends up undermining the limestone of the Mauve and the red wall to be able to make cliff faces. Because the only way you make a steep cliff face is by eroding the material underneath and then undermining the material above. And then underneath the Bright Angel Shale is this goldish, tannish colored stuff, which is the Tapeats sandstone. And that's the bottom of the Paleozoic layer. Even though you're going to become familiar with these different rock types and layers and how they change the topography of the Grand Canyon, this is an introductory lab. I don't expect you to memorize anything. Notice that the sorts of questions asked in the lab are pretty basic. For example, in this view you see here, what is the oldest Paleozoic layer that the rabbit is standing on? And then what's the youngest Paleozoic layer you can see in this view? Well, the oldest Paleozoic layer, the stuff at the bottom, is the Tapeats sandstone, and the youngest would be the Kaibab up on top. I encourage you to play around and explore. You have a fantastic opportunity in this game to do in a few minutes what would take you days to jump to in the Grand Canyon. So for example, let's pretend you want to go down to the inner gorge and look at a little bit more complex rock types than you see in just the Paleozoic era. I'm going to go to the fast travel menu, and then I'm going to click on the Granite Gorge link. It jumps my avatar right down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. I'm going to close, and then there the avatar is, deep down in the inner gorge, underneath the Tapeats sandstone. So I'm going to click off the Paleozoic layer, and I just happen to know that the rock types down in the Granite Gorge are Paleoproterozoic, meaning that they're super old rocks, some of the oldest you can see in Arizona, and they're complicated, they're metamorphic, they've been pressurized, they're very old, and they're all mixed up, they're not layered. So you can see the purple here of a granite, this orangish stuff of a granite, and then also a purple of the Vishnu Schist, which is, you're seeing a little bit more down. The Vishnu Schist is a famous, very old, compressed rock type down in the canyon, and you've got a whole exposure to the Vishnu Schist. This is really complicated stuff. This lab focuses on what's above. So I'm going to show you fast travel again here by going to a place back up on the North Rim and using the airlift mode. So we can review the geology again with the convenience of a helicopter ride. The rabbit's lifted up towards the helicopter, and now you're seeing the ramp on the inside of the Grand Canyon, or a platform, is the Bright Angel Shale. Above the Bright Angel Shale is the Mauve, then the purple cliff face of the Temple limestone. And then this other stuff here is different pieces of the Supai Formation. We won't be asking you questions about this stuff between the purple red wall limestone that makes the steep cliff faces, and then the Hermit Shale, the Coconino kind of yellowish stuff, the Toroweep, lightish blue, and then the Kaibab up on top. This is the end of the video. What I want you to do is just explore and have fun. Pretend you're going to be hiking the inner canyon, and this is your chance to familiarize yourself with what you'll be seeing. And the connection between topography and the rock types is the focus of this lab. Have fun, explore.